Franklin is definitely one of the nicest towns in all of Tennessee, and there's three aspects to that I want to show you today. One of them is the residential areas. There are a bunch of incredible communities and neighborhoods in Franklin, like the one that I'm in now. Number two is the downtown area. It's got this super charming, historic, small town downtown. You get that, kind of historic feel, but it's really well kept up. And so the charming, historic feel. And then you also have this really large commercial development called Cool Springs with a ton of job opportunities. It also comes along with great shopping and restaurants and things like that. But Cool Springs, one of the things to keep in mind is there's a ton of job opportunities over there. You have the Nissan headquarters there. Dave Ramsey has his headquarters here in Franklin as well. A bunch of other, businesses in Cool Springs and around Franklin. So you get the incredible residential areas, the charming small town feel, and then that huge commercial development with all the job opportunities. But the first place we're going to check out is West Haven. This is one of the communities in Franklin. And the thing that stands out about West Haven is there are a ton of different amenities here. So you have this lake here in the middle, and you have kayaks and paddleboards here that you can use. There's also a golf course just over this way, of course, tennis and pickleball courts and a pool. But then if you look around this lake, all the way to the other side, these buildings around through here and these buildings back up behind me, and then along this street here, these are all different businesses. So a lot of communities, you might have, a few amenities with, tennis and stuff like that, golf that I already mentioned. But this one has a ton of different shopping options. You have fitness centers, but not only just your normal fitness centers, you have actual gyms with different classes, different styles. You have a large grocery store over here. You have a lot of different restaurants. You have even things like clothing stores and just all kinds of stuff through here. And so if you want to be in a community where you can truly hop on your golf cart and get to literally anything you could need, then that is what West Haven offers. I'm going to drive up through the neighborhoods here so you can kind of see what some of the homes look like. All right, so we're going to head up and look at the homes here in West Haven. But this is just that main road that runs kind of around that lake, and you can see the lake over here on the left. On the right side, you've got all of these different businesses. I mean, you have everything from banks, insurance offices, to restaurants, coffee shops, gyms, all kinds of stuff through here. You even have a large grocery store, a large Kroger over here on the right. You have a fire station up here ahead. So you can hop on your golf cart, drive down here, get up to all these homes that we're about to go check out, and you have literally everything that you could possibly need in here. All right, so we're back in the neighborhoods at West Haven, and this is kind of what they look like. You have these tree-lined streets, beautiful homes, beautiful setting. But really the thing that stands out about West Haven, I mean, the neighborhoods are definitely very nice, but just all the amenities that you have here. So if you want to have true golf cart community, there are not very many of them in Tennessee, but West Haven is one of them. You can access anything you need to get to on your golf cart, all the amenities, drive around, through the neighborhoods back here. But it's just a really pretty setting, and it's only about 10 minutes out from downtown Franklin. But I know for a lot of people, you want a little more space than what West Haven offers, and there are plenty of neighborhoods in Franklin where you can get a nice large piece of property. This one here, properties anywhere from a half an acre to an acre. So you do get some good space, especially if you're coming from, a city setting where you maybe only have 0.1 or 0.2 acres. But then there's some neighborhoods where you can get 2 or 3 acres even with a nice home on it. So, neighborhoods like this where you get that space, you kind of get that peaceful, quiet setting, I know is what a lot of people are looking for. And this whole area, right here is still about 10 minutes out from downtown. West Haven is about 10 minutes out, but it's all surrounded by farmland. So it's a really quiet, peaceful area. You can get a nice big piece of property and have all the peace and quiet that you want, but still be convenient to get over into town. And you can see over to my left and to my right, just farmland. And to my right here, they're actually putting in another new development with nice large home sites. So that's one of the things to look for in Franklin. You have a lot of these new developments, but some places, pretty much all the new developments, you only get like 0.2 acres, where in Franklin, yes, you have some like West Haven with the smaller properties, but you also have some new developments with really large pieces of property, and there's a ton of farmland and wooded areas left around here. So it really is that more peaceful, private setting that a lot of people are looking for. and you can get a new home with a nice large piece of property. Hey, really quick, before we go any further, my name is Forrest McCullough, and my real estate team has helped hundreds of people make the move to Tennessee. So if you're thinking about making the move to Tennessee and you want to see how my team can help, you can send us a text at the number on the screen here. Our contact information will be down in the description below, and we would love to connect with you. All right, so the new development in Franklin is great, but one of the places Franklin really stands out is in the historic areas. So this is one of the historic neighborhoods right outside of downtown. The new development, you get either something like West Haven with all the amenities built right into it, or you can go with one of the neighborhoods where you're going to get more space. And those are great, but these historic areas are really cool as well. I mean, Franklin is truly one of the nicest towns in the state. These neighborhoods are really well kept up. Most of these homes have been completely renovated, so they're really beautiful. This tree-lined streets, the landscaping. And so if you want that historic kind of small town feel, then Franklin is honestly one of the best places to be able to get that. So it's cool because you have these really nice new developments, but then you still have really that historic character and charm right around downtown. All right, next area we got to check out is downtown. And this downtown is definitely has that historic small town feel, but there's a ton of stuff to do down here. So there's a ton of great shopping. This is like the historic town square area. And then Main Street stretches a couple blocks either direction here. And Main Street is just lined with honestly great shopping, but a lot of great restaurants, different coffee shops, and so there's a ton of stuff to do down here. Of course, there's different business offices and stuff like that, but this is really one of the coolest places to come hang out. If you want to do a date night, whether you want to come down here, just hang out at a coffee shop or go shopping, whatever it is you want to do. And this gives you, like I said before, it's just that really unique mix of having that small town charm, but also having those incredible new developments. And so you can have kind of best of both worlds, so to speak. So you can be just 10 minutes out in some of those new developments out in the really, beautiful rural areas, and then come in here to this downtown area. And so if you want that combination, that is one thing that Franklin honestly does better than just about anywhere else in the state. So super cool downtown. I'm gonna hop in the car and drive down through Main Street so you can see what that looks like. All right, so this is Main Street, Franklin. This is just a few city blocks either direction here. It is completely packed with all kinds of stuff, different shops and restaurants. And this, again, you have, small towns all over Tennessee where you're gonna have kind of that historic downtown square and a few other things, but there is really nothing like Franklin where you have this much stuff to do, but still have that true small town feel. So of course, if you get into one of the cities, you're gonna have a ton of stuff to do, but you're gonna lose that small town feel. So Franklin it's kind of like as much stuff to do as you would find like in some cities, but you still have that historic small town charm. All right, our next stop is called the Factory at Franklin, and this is right outside of downtown, but this is another really cool area. It is an old stove factory that's been converted into a indoor retail area. So there's a ton of shopping and restaurants in here, and this is a really cool area to come hang out. It's kind of like a modern indoor shopping mall, except for way cooler. It's got a way cooler vibe, but there's a ton of stuff in there, and this is just one of those other areas that Franklin offers that's really unique. It's, the downtown area is really unique. This is really unique. I mean, I haven't seen anything like this anywhere else in Tennessee. The downtown area, this, and Cool Springs, which I'm gonna show you in just a second. So a lot of really unique areas about Franklin. And by the way, this is the middle of the day on a Tuesday, and these areas are all packed with people. There's tons of people in the factory here. There were tons of people downtown. And so Franklin is the type of area where there's always stuff going on. There's always people out and about. So it is a small town, kind of that charming small town feel, but there's still a ton of stuff going on. So you're never gonna feel like it's really a slow pace. All right, we are gonna head out towards Cool Springs, which is that big new commercial development. I'm gonna stop and show you one more neighborhood on the way out there. But one of the things I wanted to mention, I just said that Franklin doesn't really have that kind of slow pace of life that a lot of Tennessee small towns have. What I should clarify is if you're coming from a big city, then it's definitely gonna feel like a very slow pace pace of life. But the thing about Franklin is, look out to my left here, for example, and even over to my right. I mean, you have a ton of open land still. You got a big farm over to the left and just this wooded area over to the right. So you have a ton of this open land and rural areas. We're just a few minutes out from town, but at the same time, you still have a lot going on. So what you have with Franklin is a lot of people that move from bigger cities, you know, whether you're moving from LA or New York or even Dallas or Houston, just one of the bigger cities around the country. A lot of people want to get into one of the small towns in Tennessee, but what they find is a lot of the small towns in Tennessee are just a little bit too small. You know, you don't have really any amenities, you don't have much going on at all. And so Franklin kind of hits that sweet spot for some people, for a lot of people actually, because it kind of has that small town feel still, but there is still quite a bit going on with the different amenities. And then you have a lot of people that'll be hanging out downtown, hanging out at the factory. And so it kind of hits that sweet spot where you still have a bit of that small town feel, but you still have quite a bit going on. All right, so this is an example of another newer development in Franklin, just to give you an idea for the type of communities that you can find here. And again, this is one of those new developments where the properties aren't huge, but still quite a bit bigger than what you find in a lot of suburbs around Tennessee. So you get, you know, a pretty good amount of space. You get enough space to build a nice big home, and then you still have a little bit of space left over. So Franklin, and really all of Williamson County, you know, the surrounding county around Franklin, has a lot of the top neighborhoods for the Nashville area, just as far as luxury homes, you know, nice large pieces of property. And, you know, Franklin's no different. So if you're looking for, you know, a luxury community, Franklin has a ton to offer. This is just an example of kind of what some of those typical communities will look like. So you can see beautiful homes, tree-lined streets. You know, this is a newer one, so you don't have the larger mature trees yet. You know, that's one of the things that a lot of people look for with a mature neighborhood. You know, some people will want to buy a home in a mature neighborhood, so you have the large trees and everything like that. But of course, if you go with one of the newer neighborhoods, you're still going to get all this nice landscaping that they've put in. So, you know, Franklin, again, has some of the top neighborhoods for, you know, Williamson County in general has some of the top neighborhoods for the Nashville area. So if you're looking for, you know, whether it's one of these new communities, whether it is the historic area, and it has a little bit of everything from the housing to, of course, the downtown, and then this big commercial development called Cool Springs that we're getting ready to go check out. All right, so this is Cool Springs, and this is the really large commercial development that I was talking about. But there's a couple things to know about it. But actually, before I get into that, first of all, it's just to understand the size of it. This road runs a few miles, and then there's other main roads off this road, you know, that run probably a mile that direction. And it's just lined with different offices, businesses, shops, all kinds of stuff. So you can see up ahead here, straight forward, there's a few large office buildings. Over towards the left here, a few large office buildings. And then there's tons of medical offices. There is tons of shopping. And so the first thing to know about it is that it just has a ton of conveniences. So if you live in the area, you're gonna have access to anything you could possibly need, from healthcare to different shopping options to dining options. You know, it has a Costco here, it has Target and stuff like that, but it has a ton of other stuff as well. So just the convenience of it is the first thing. And then the second thing, these office buildings are obviously providing job opportunities, economic opportunities. And so this is a really big kind of job center for the entire area. You actually have several large headquarters here. You have the Nissan headquarters of America here. Dave Ramsey has his headquarters just a few miles down this direction. So there are a ton of job opportunities. You know, this is a big economic driver for the Franklin area. So again, this area is kind of that modern commercial development, providing all of the amenities, all the convenience, and then all of those job opportunities as well. So this commercial area here really just adds that additional dynamic to Franklin. So you have, you know, all the incredible communities, you have the really cool historic downtown, and then you have this big development with all the modern conveniences, as well as all of the job opportunities. And so it's really a unique combination of all these different things right here in one town. And again, if you're thinking about making the move to Tennessee, my name is Forrest McCullough. My real estate team has helped hundreds of people make the move here to Tennessee, and we would love to help you. If you want to connect with us, you can simply send us a text at the number right here on the screen. Our contact information will be down in the description below. We would love to connect with you and help you make that move to Tennessee. Other than that, I will see you on the next video.